What's going on, Defenders? And welcome to a very special episode of the Defender Fitness Alliance show. I have a very special guest this evening. He is the co-founder and CEO of Caffeine and Kilos, the owner of XL Health and Fitness, and also he has a podcast that's out. He's the co-host of the Gas Station Cappuccino podcast. I have the pleasure of bringing it in. Danny Lair. Danny, I appreciate you for coming on once again, brother. And can you just tell us a little bit about your personal life and what you're up to now?
Yeah, man. So I had kind of an interesting route. I went to school and everything. I was going to be a PE teacher, and I did that for a while. I taught PE for 8 years. Had a great time. Loved that. I was coaching wrestling. That was all good. But I always kind of knew that I wanted to do something else. My grandfather owned some businesses, and my dad had a business when I was a kid. And so I always kind of thought that was something I was interested in. And so then I ended up getting involved with the gym about actually 10 years. Been open 10 years now, back 2008. And I was doing that and the teaching thing kind of at the same time. And then we started Caffeine and Kilos, and that kind of took off. And so at that point, it was something's got to give, right? So I stopped teaching, and so for the past 3 or 4 years now, it's just been all in on business. And I have the gym here that's going really well, and then Caffeine and Kilos is a ton of fun as well. So it's kind of where everything's at.
So how long has Caffeine and Kilos been out, and how did first off, where did the name come about, and how did that all transpire?
Yeah, man. So Caffeine and Kilos, we founded in 2013. And how it all kind of came about is we just wanted to really start off, wanted to host a weightlifting meet where we could actually pay athletes. I was competing in weightlifting, and my co-founders both competing in weightlifting, and so that was something we were passionate about. And it's really, when it comes down to it, it's just about supporting the lifestyle of fitness, the healthy, active lifestyle. And so everyone we know that lifts weights, drinks coffee, that's pretty much the deal there. And that's kind of how Caffeine and Kilos came up. So that was kind of that's like the real short version of the story there. So we held the meet, and it went really well, and people had a good time and everything. And so that's just kind of basically launched the brand from there.
So did it just kind of start off as like a weightlifting event, and then it just turned into like apparel, or how did that go?
So we're going to do the weightlifting event, and then we decided, why have just weightlifting? We should have a CrossFit style competition as well. And now we actually have a powerlifting meet involved at the same time. So all of them going on. It's almost like a festival, So for the meet, we're getting ready to do that. And with, we're just going to sell shirts at the event and that type of thing. And so we kind of posted about it, and people were fired up. Like they really liked the name. They liked the design of the shirts and everything. So we started selling the shirts before the event even started, a couple months before. And like I said, people just got really excited, and it took off. And so then that's kind of how the whole thing went down. Because the idea is that what we want to do with the apparel side of it is that there's lots of fitness brands, but a lot of them are kind of corny, right? It's like, these kind of cheesy sayings and something you'd wear in the gym, but you wouldn't want to wear, to a family birthday party or out to dinner. So that was our whole thing, is how can we get like a nice, like classy, clean look, but then still in the fitness industry. So the way we see it is that we're essentially, it's a streetwear brand that just appeals to the fitness industry, or that's in the fitness industry, right? So that's kind of the thing too. It's something people can be proud to wear and can get behind, and again, kind of promote that active lifestyle, and so that's kind of the whole deal there.
Awesome, man. So, I've been watching Caffeine and Kilos from a distance for a while now, and kind of seen the rise of the brand. How did you guys? I mean, let's talking about social media. How did you guys create this huge following and this building the brand through social media?
Well, a couple things. One is, I think it's just something people can relate to. So I think that if you're being genuine, and if you're doing things that you really believe in, and that you can really get behind, then people see that and they can relate to that. So it's not posting a bunch of fake pictures or this or that or the other thing, and it's not doing things just for likes or just for shares, It's about posting things that you actually believe in and that you think are nice. And again, you post pictures that are nice and classy and promote the image you want to promote. And that goes a lot further than doing something just trying to get likes, whatever, right? So that is a big part of it. And then also, we just have a lot of people in the fitness industry, specifically in CrossFit and Olympic weightlifting and powerlifting, that we're friends with. We are, the reason why it's easy for us to be genuine is we are our own market. I've been involved with CrossFit. Like I said, I've had a gym for 10 years. And then I competed in weightlifting at a relatively high level for 5 or 6 years, and so when you do that, when you're competing at a national level in weightlifting, you're friends with some of the best weightlifters in the country because you're lifting the same meets as them. You see them a couple times a year, and when you've been doing CrossFit for 10 years, and it's still kind of as young as it is, then when you run into these people at events, you just kind of know people that have been in it a long time. And so a lot of it's just kind of getting stuff out to friends of ours that liked it and believed in what we were doing and kind of liked the brand and wanted to help out. So that was a big part of it, is just, getting product out to friends of ours and who know that we're actually involved in what we're doing. That we're not some corporation, or we're not somebody who's just trying to, sell something to a market that seems hot, but it's actually people who are involved in the market and, have that as their best interest. It's the authenticity and being genuine that makes a big difference there.
So a lot of the guys in the community, some of them, most of them in the weightlifting, and so a couple of them actually have their own apparel brand.
That's great.
So what's one advice you would give? Because you talked about, you guys, you've been in the industry for a while, in approaching influencers, to maybe sponsor or carry their brand. What's one advice, and how to go about that?
Yeah, so it's about relationships. And so maybe you don't have relationships right now with some of these people, but it's finding people who are interested in the brand or aware of it, right? Or even if they're not aware of it, but just who are, they're kind of coming up and just reaching out to them and just kind of forming those relationships, talking to them, if you like, and also you have to be behind what they're behind, right? So if you like, do you like their message? Do you like the things they're promoting? If it's somebody who, I don't care how many followers they have, if what they really believe in and what their message isn't the same as yours, then you're spinning your wheels. You don't want anything to do with that person. And so it's really important to find people who have similar values and character, because they'll see that in you as well. They're not going to want to deal with someone who doesn't, carry the same values and morals as them, beliefs as them, and that type of thing. So reach out to them, send them a message. Hey man, what's up? Like, here's my company. This is what we're all about. I love your message and how you're about boom, 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 right? And then is it cool if I send you some stuff? And that's it. And then you send them some stuff, and they either like it or they don't, and either wear it or they don't. They promote it a little bit or they don't, right? And then you just build from there. And when eventually you're going to find some people who like your stuff. You have a pause. They give you some feedback on it. You talk to them a little bit. You form a relationship with them. And they promote it really well, and they represent kind of what you're about. And then that's from there, it's kind of a natural step. But it all starts with making sure you find people who, believe in the same thing you do, and you would be proud for them promoting you, not because of necessarily how many followers they have. But you'd be proud of them promoting you because of what they believe in and what they're about. And those are going to be the people that you have the best relationships with. I mean, look, with Caffeine and Kilos, all of our athletes we have a girl who got Morgan King. She got 6th at the Olympics. We have people that have placed, top 5 in the CrossFit Games, all this type of stuff. And all of these relationships have been formed. They've all been personal relationship based. Morgan's actually a really good friend of mine. And if she was no longer a Caffeine and Kilos athlete, she would still be a really good friend of mine. We text all the time. Carrie Pierce, talked about placing top of the CrossFit Games past couple of years, same thing. She's a good friend of mine, and it's because, we believe in what she believes in and all that type of stuff. And we have that relationship and that connection that is actually that relationship is stronger than anything to do with the brand, and that's what's really important, is forming that relationship first. And then the business side of things will kind of fall into place. But that's how you don't want people jumping on and off, in my opinion. You don't want someone who's, has this relationship with the brand, and then 6 months later, a year later, contract ends, and that's that. It's like, all right, you want people who are going to be around for the long haul, and as long as they're still in it, interested, they're in, and that's you're going to get the most mileage out of that, I believe.
That's a great point. Going back to what you were saying in the beginning, you got to find somebody that you can relate to this with the same message, right? Because, like you said, there's a lot of influencers out there. They might have a ton of following, but if they're not meshing with what you're putting out there, that's kind of like a lose situation right there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I got a comment from one of our members here, Paul. Let me see. So Paul's asking, I would love to open my own studio at some point. I'm still active duty Army with 8 more years. Any advice at this point?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I believe that you could open your own studio now. You don't have to, obviously. If you want to wait till you're out of the military, that's fine. Especially because you don't know, you might be moving around or something. So that obviously causes some difficulties or challenges with that. But when I first started the gym, I was teaching, and actually the guy I was starting with, he was teaching full-time. Like, we both had full-time jobs. So it's work, and it's a lot of work, but it's important to find people to kind of fill a lot of roles anyway. And I do think that's something that's really important is I think one thing you want to avoid is being the one who does everything. Right. It is one benefit is it is good to know how to do all these things for sure. But you don't want to be in the position where you do every single thing in the business because then you never can get away, right? So I think my advice for that would be find some people. And I think a misconception there is that people say, well, I couldn't hire someone like a full-time, whatever. We don't have to hire someone full-time. Like, you probably know someone now who has 10 hours a week that they're not really doing much. They would love to work, honestly, if they're a friend of yours or you have a personal relationship, they'd probably love to work for you for minimum wage for 10 hours a week. Like, that would be totally fine with them. Like, they would like to do that. So you could give them like all of the back end stuff, like everything that's not actually training a client, if that's what you're best at, right? And they could worry about the billing and all that type of stuff. So anyways, that'd be my advice is once you decide you want to do it, find someone to help you. That doesn't mean they need to be a full-on partner in it. It can still be your show, but don't be afraid to have other people helping you out doing those different aspects of the business. One thing that allowed me to do it, we also teaching, is there's 3 of us actually. 2 of us are teachers, another one had a different job, but all of us had full-time jobs. But on that extra time, right, there was 3 of us that made up, that filled in the different holes, right, the different gaps. So that's what I would say is find people who are good at the things you're not and have them help you out.
And you also want to find
one more thing real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
More thing real quick is someone asked me not too long ago, said, I want to open my own gym. What do I do? And I said, what's first step? So get a client. Like, well, what about, I said, what about what? Like a facility, equipment, an LLC, a bank account. Like, if you have 0 clients, you need 0 equipment. That's exactly how that works, right? If you have 0 clients, you don't need a building. Because, like, what are you getting? You're going to be there by yourself.
Yeah.
You don't need a bank account because no one's paying you shit. Like, all of that stuff comes after getting some clients, Like, you get a handful of clients, like, even like you get 2 or 3 clients, dude, you need a set of dumbbells in a park, like that's all you need, right? And then as you start getting more clients, I'm going to need some more stuff here. I'm going to need a facility. I'm going to need, more equipment. I'm going to need to get my shit together and form, maybe form an LLC or, file for a business license, get a bank account. Like, but none of those things are needed if you have 0 clients. So
you got to make sure there's a demand for, what your service, what you're offering before you even start, going down that route.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess another thing too is you also want to find somebody that can do what you can't, like what you're weak in. Would you agree? Like,
yeah,
if you're good at the fitness side, maybe somebody that can handle the business aspect of owning a gym.
Yeah, I think that's important. I also think it is true to be able to do lots of things, and like I said, kind of like it's important to know how to do everything or know how to do a lot of things. But if you're not good at something, it shouldn't be one of your main responsibilities necessarily, right?
Right.
But just blowing over it and like pretending like it's not a problem that you can't read a P&L profit and loss sheet, like that is a problem, right?
Right.
And so. You need to have the basics down, because if that person leaves, you don't want to be high and dry. That's a very real thing also. But I absolutely agree. You want to get someone that is good at the things that you are either not good at or don't like to do.
Awesome.
If you're doing what really leads burnout is people talk about burnout and stuff. It's not working the hours. It's doing the shit you don't want to do for the hours that leads to burnout. If you love what you're doing, there's no such thing as burnout, right? It's like I just heard the other day, it's not about a work-life balance. It's about integrating the two, And if you love what you're doing and are passionate about what you're doing, then you can integrate the two and it's not a problem. It's only a problem when you don't like the things you're doing. Well, then you get burnt out, right?
So you don't believe so you don't believe in like burnout, I guess?
I think burnout's a very real thing. I think that if you're working a bunch of hours on shit that you don't like doing, you're going to burn out.
Right.
Definitely. But if you love what you're doing and you're passionate about what you're doing, like how would you burn out on that?
Right. Because you love it. That's what you're passionate about. That's why.
Yeah.
Burn out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good point, man.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean like you never go on vacations. I'm not saying that. Like take a little breaks. I love my kids, but you know what? Like after, if it was if I was alone with just me and my kids, like for 24 hours a day for, 3 weeks straight, a month straight, whatever, like I'd probably need a little break, like whatever.
Yeah.
It's like that with anything. But like, that's another good example. It's like how many people, that's like, oh yeah, I've raised this kid for 6 years, burnt out. I don't want any part of him anymore. It's like, no, because you love your kid, you're passionate about your kid, like you have no, like you wouldn't want anybody else raising your kid. You have no problem doing that, right? How come people don't get burnt out on parenting, but they do on business, right? What's the difference? Well, one thing they actually love and care about and passionate about. The other thing they don't like what they're doing.
Excellent points, man. So in talking about opening up a gym or having a gym, what do you think is, in your opinion, what's the number one reason most gyms fail and shut down, and how do we avoid that mistake?
A lack of quality. I think the biggest problem is a lack of quality. I think that you could say lots, like you could say it's well, the reason they fail and shut down is a lack of money, right? They can't pay their bills. Or another thing is, here we go, come back to like that burnout thing, is the coach is not making any money, back to money, and so they're tired of doing this job and not making any money for it. Well, if they offered a better quality service, okay, quality in different aspects too, you want to make sure the facility is clean. People want to go there. You need to make sure that the quality is programmed enough to where you can charge what you're worth. And a lot of times if people are thinking, oh, if you ever say a statement like, oh, no one would ever pay that for this gym, if you're the gym owner and you're saying that, like, that's your fault. Like, it's not that no one would pay that. It's that you don't offer a high enough quality of service to charge that much, right? And so that's what how I keep saying, like, quality, like that's what it all wraps around to. You have to have a quality service. You have to have offer quality coaching. All those things are really important. No one wants to go to somewhere no one wants to pay to go get a half-ass service, right? So I think that's like the number one thing. You just have to make sure that like in everything you're doing it the best you can, and you're always trying to improve it, right? It's like every single day I'm trying to improve every aspect of my life, So that's like when I'm down at the gym, I want to improve everything about the gym. When I'm at Caffeine and Kilos, like I want to improve everything about what we do at Caffeine and Kilos. Like, my personal life, I want to get better stuff too, right? So like don't settle, right? Don't settle for substandard things, like, or substandard situations or substandard coaching or substandard clients. If you don't like your clients, get rid of them. And so I think it's true. Like get new ones, get ones that you do like, right? So anyways, that's the thing, is I think that quality is a big aspect of that.
That's another excellent point. You're talking about getting rid of clients that that might not be beneficial to the gym, because that can bring down the I guess the camaraderie of the gym, right? Of the you know bring
there's
that
this
down.
book. There's this book. It's really good. It's called Culture Code. And so culture code's interesting, but it talks about that a lot. Like there's all these studies, and like they study how groups of people interact, and they'll take a group of people and they'll give them a task, whatever, and then they'll put one person, like they plant people in the group with like certain attitudes. It's like they plant someone in there's like a downer. It's like, oh man, like whatever, and the group's like fucking fail miserably every time, or they'll plant someone in there who is like a jerk, and and he's like attacking people, like not physically, but like any ideas they have. And those groups always struggle and fail. And they found like the cure to both those things really the only is if there's someone in the group who maintains a really positive attitude, and when the other person acts that way, they just kind of like, oh, and like kind of brush them off or whatever, that whole thing, and keep it light, keep the mood light. Anyway, that completely relates back to this. Like if you're training a group of people together and there's someone in the group who's an ass, right? Or who's just like, like Debbie Downer, right? That's going to totally affect the entire group. Right. And that goes back to your attitude too. If you're coaching the class, like what's your attitude like? Are you happy to be there? Are you positive? Or are you just kind of going through the motions? Right. People can smell that shit a mile away. Yeah. So yeah, Culture Code, highly recommend that, by the way.
Right. So I got another question here. What do you think about opening a studio and competing against other gyms like Planet Fitness, Anytime Fitness?
Yeah, so I don't think anything about it. Like it doesn't bother me, I should say. Here's the thing, like, are you trying to open a gym that offers the exact same service as Planet Fitness or Anytime Fitness? If the answer is yes, well, then you have to worry about competition. But if your gym is different, if you're offering a different service, then you're not competing. It's a completely different gym, Like I said, like my gym, we have a CrossFit program. We're actually launching a whole yoga studio inside our facility, all this. But like a cycling gym opened up. It's literally in the same parking lot. Like it's right down there. And that doesn't bother me at all. Good. Like that's great, because the bottom line is like the best type of fitness for people, right? The best type of exercise, the one they do, and people are going to do what they like. And so it's like the person who's going to cycling, they're not going to fucking do CrossFit right now anyway. Like they really are they're into the cycling. And you know what? Maybe they decide it's not for them. And now they know we're here because they drove by, like in the parking lot. That's great. Whatever, Or maybe we have clients who aren't really having a good time here and aren't really coming in, and they're not whatever. And so then they're going to quit and join there. Like that's fine too. Like I want people here that are getting results and like what they're doing and have a positive impact, right? And so I don't worry at all about competing with other gyms. I've actually said a handful of times, like another gym that does as close to like exactly what we do, like say a gym that's a CrossFit affiliate, whatever, like opened right next door. Well, good. Like that wouldn't that'd make me happy, because all that would do is that would just drive us to be that much better every single day, right? And one little thing about that too is don't make the mistake of competing on price. Because if you try and compete on price, it's a race to the bottom, right? So like, I don't give a shit what anybody else charges. Like that has nothing to do with me, Like there's the other gyms that are around. Like it doesn't matter, because we're not that gym, And you're going to attract people to you who like your personality and like your service. And other gyms are going to attract people to them, like their person, like their service. If they want to go to a Planet Fitness because they just want to go in somewhere and run on a treadmill and not fucking talk to anybody, like, is that what, like, that's not the product you're offering, Or maybe it is. I don't know. Like that'd be fine too. But it's like, that's why that doesn't bother me at all. Where I don't really see that as competition or as a threat. It's an entirely different product, It's like owning a barbecue joint and being worried, like, do I have to worry about competing with like a Chinese food restaurant?
Right.
It's like, no, like, because some days people are going to want Chinese food and some people are going to like barbecue, and that's fine, right? It's like the same thing. Yeah, they're both like people got to eat. They're both restaurants, but like they're completely different services. So how can you differentiate yourself? And earlier I mentioned a book, but another one that's actually really good about this is a Seth Godin book called Purple Cow, right? And so that's the whole thing is that you have to, if you make a remarkable service, a truly remarkable service that stands out, there is no such thing as competition, right? And so that's actually, I think, is really important. And that's the way we really see things, at my gym. And we see that way Caffeine and Fuels also is, there's other companies that kind of do the same thing as us, but not really. Like what we do is different for lots of reasons. And that's the whole thing is if you're yourself and you're remarkable and you're different, then there is no competition.
You got to be your own dish, kind of sort of say.
Got to be your own dish. You just got to be like Fabulous. When Fabulous say there is no competition.
Right. And you got to find your own niche too, man. You got to find your own audience, and not worry about the price, because if the service you're offering is providing results, then the price wouldn't matter because you're providing what the customer wants, right?
That's it, man. It's like you have to charge what you're comfortable charging, like what you think it's worth. And if you're charging a price that you think it's worth more than, like, anyway, you gotta believe in what you're doing, and you gotta charge what you really think it's worth. Like that's it, And you can't let your thoughts and feelings about money affect what you assume other people's thoughts and feelings about money are. You have no idea what this person makes. You have no idea what their situation is. Right. What you do know, and here's another thing, is you have no control over that. You have no control over what other people, how much money they have or how much money they make or what their values are, what they spend their money on, right? What you can control is the service you offer and the value you offer. So if you offer a quality service and a high value service, then that's all you can control, right? So don't lower your standards to meet other people,
Excellent points, man. Guys, make sure you guys are coming in and asking questions. Danny is bringing in some knowledge bombs here. So if no one has any other questions, I'm going to keep asking. So Danny, so we have other members in our community who are personal trainers. I know you've been coaching weightlifting and CrossFit for many years now. What's one advice that you would give personal trainers or CrossFit level trainers?
Oh man, so I think that is, it's funny. I don't know. That's pretty broad. I'd say, like, as far as training goes, is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Like, advice
as far as training clients and customers and all.
Don't rush people. Don't rush people to where they want to be too soon. And what I mean is, you want to obviously get results for people, but sometimes it goes both ways, right? Like basically, if you're taking people down a path and you believe the path you're taking them down is the best way to get them to the end goal, like stay the course. Like don't let people talk you out of that. And that's hard too, because people sometimes say you're training. I had this girl and she was like, whatever, it's like simple, like push-ups. Like her push-ups are fucking awful. And so it's like, all right, so you want to get her from that to being able to do like a good, legit push-up. It's a very like simple progression that any trainer should be able to do, right? But so she was like it was so hard for her. And so she wanted to kind of she didn't think it was possible, or it was just like this thing. She didn't want to progress as quickly as she could, right? Well, I didn't let that happen. Like, no bullshit. Like, you're not just going to quit there because it seems to be hard to you. Like, of course it seems to be hard because you've never done this, right? But it's like what she didn't realize is that I've taken hundreds, thousands of people who couldn't do a single fucking push-up, and they now can do like all kinds of push-ups, right? Like it's a very simple thing. I've done it thousands of times. And so like you've seen that and you know the steps. So like take them down the path, right? Don't let them like take a side road, like keep them on the path, Right. And same thing goes, like they might be 3/4 way there and they're like, hey, and they want to like jump this last thing. And it's like, if you think they're ready for it, fine. But if you really don't think they're ready, like, don't give in. Like, tell them, like, no, like, you're not quite ready for that. Like, you will be, right? But this is why. Tell them, like, this is why. I've had other clients who've done this. And, like, if you can do, or, like, if you can do X, then I'll let you try Y. But right now you can't do X, so why the hell do you want to do Y, So that's the whole thing is, like, when you're working towards a goal and you're taking them down a path, like, take them down the path.
Do you feel like you see that more often than not? Trainers pushing their clients too much and ending, with them ending up getting hurt?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't see that a lot. But the truth is also that I don't see a lot of people training people outside of my gym right now. And that's something that we're pretty adamant about, is like safety is number one. Because here's the thing, if someone's injured, they're making zero progress in the gym.
Right.
And if your goal is to make progress, you can't have fucking hurt clients, because people that are hurt are not making progress, right? So I don't see that a lot personally, but I mean, I'm sure it happens
Right.
sometimes, right? I'm not sure.
Okay, so I got another question here. What do you think of online fitness coaching industry?
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I don't really think. I don't think it's good or bad. I think that, look, the simple fact is, there's no substitute for having someone who's experienced and knowledgeable in person right in front of you, watching every single thing you do and coaching you through it. Okay. If anyone who's played sports, like you played sports in high school or college or whatever, then you know what it's like to have a coach who's watching you and dissecting every single little fucking minute move you make and improving you because of that. And there's no way that they could do that exact same thing remotely, even with video and stuff like that. It's just not the same as having somebody there who can make minor adjustments, and they might make 100 minor adjustments over the course of a 1 hour training, right? Now, with that being said, what's important about that is the person making those adjustments knows the hell they're doing, right? So if you live in an area where there is nobody nearby who knows what they're talking about, or maybe the best coach around you is like a 6 out of 10 coach, right? But you could hire a 10 out of 10 coach for online coaching. Okay, well, now we've got an interesting thing to talk about, right? Like at that point, the online fitness coach, is probably a better way to go, because at least you know that they've done it before. That at least the programming will be there. The programming itself is not going to injure you, whereas like that 6 out of 10 coach, like maybe he's not going to let you get hurt, like movement wise, but maybe he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing programming wise. There's just so many variables there. But I would say if the coach near you is a 7 out of 10 or higher, you go with the in-person coach. If it's a 6 out of 10 or lower, go with an online coach. I know it's kind of a weird answer for like, what do I think of the online fitness coaching industry, but that's just kind of what came to mind with that question. If you have a more specific question, let me know and I'll address that more. But that's kind of my overall thoughts on the whole online coaching thing.
I guess I don't know what. I guess looking at the question, it says about the industry, the online fitness coaching industry, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like if people are making money selling online fitness coaching, and they're helping people, good. If someone's doing it as like a grab bag and they're not really helping anybody, well, that's kind of fucked,
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I don't know. People are hiring them, so.
Hey, they're getting paid, right? So.
Yeah, but that only lasts so long, man. Like, I'll tell you this, like the biggest mistake, I really think the biggest mistake anyone can make is chasing money. Like, you can't chase money, man. Like, and the reason why is because that's the biggest waste of time. Because honestly, when it comes down to it, that's the easiest thing to get. Like, if somebody, like if your only goal is make as much money as possible, there's a million ways to do that. Like, there's a million ways to make money.
Without
the quickest
people over.
Without exactly, or with like whatever. Like if your only goal is to make money, like you can open an online Amazon store. Like there's a million ways to make money, right?
Right.
So whatever you're doing, it should be for more than just trying to make a quick buck, right? There's so many more important things in life, and like, what do you really care about? What are you passionate about? What do you, if you're in this group, you probably like helping people. Like you're probably passionate about helping people, so help them, and the money will be there.
And guys, you got to be careful about, your reputation as well, because one bad customer can kind of, tell other people, and, that can lead to you not having any customers. So.
Yeah, having a customer say that they didn't like your service because whatever, they didn't like it. Like, that's one thing. But having someone say they didn't like your service because you screwed them over, that's an entirely different situation.
Yeah. All right. So great questions. Thanks, Paul, Tommy, Charles, Dustin. Thank you guys for tuning in. So, guys, if there's no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and go to our last portion of our interview here with Danny. So, Danny, this is the last portion of our interview. This is where I ask the 5 fitness facts of my guests.
All right.
Are you ready?
Oh, hell yeah.
So, question, what's your favorite workout?
Favorite workout?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's easy. Just like snatch, clean, and jerk. Like max out snatch, max out clean and jerk. Done.
Least favorite?
Oh, high volume squats. So if I have to do like sets of 10 in the squat, something like that, or more, fuck that. Like if I got like 4 sets of 10, like that hurts.
I hate it. Yeah. All right. Next question. If you had to choose one person you could train with, who would it be and why?
Oh, Arnold.
Arnold.
Yeah.
Dude is still training. I see YouTube videos.
Or Jay Cutler, because like he's a blonde adult male, I'm a blonde. I feel like we're basically doppelgangers. Yeah.
All right. Next question. Recommend a book for our listeners to read.
Oh, I already did 2. I'll do a third one though. Is actually I got so many. Well, so straight up, number one, in fact, the number one book I recommend to anybody before they read, if someone actually says like, oh, like I want to start reading more, I want to do more like whatever, like business or personal development stuff, like number one you have to read is Mindset by Carol Dweck. And so Mindset, and the reason why is because if you don't read that one first, let me back up. If you read that one first, you will get more out of every other thing you read and do. Okay. So that's why I think that is number one, A1. Like if I make a list or if I could do like a order of things, like number one, you have to read Mindset by Carol Dweck first. And then after that, then you can read other stuff and you'll get more out of them.
Awesome. Mindset
by Carol Dweck.
Carol Dweck. Next question. Tell us your favorite quote and why.
Oh, man. I can't, I don't know, man. So I don't know I don't know the whole quote. So I guess that would make it hard for my favorite one. But there's actually another book that's called Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. Anyway, in it, the whole thing is based on the quote about like,
paraphrasing.
Oh man, I know that's basically it. Anyway, it's like, like there's a man in the arena and like, anyway, basically it's better to know defeat than it is, right? That the man in the arena quote, right? Anyway, it ends in it's better, whatever. It's better to know defeat, whatever, but have done so by daring greatly, right? Like, I don't know. Man, that's really, say it's your favorite quote and you can't even fucking say it. But if you look up like the man in the arena quote, you'll see it. And it's because it's pretty long. It's like a whole paragraph. Like you get to just the whole thing. It's like it was a speech. It was actually it was a speech before World War II. So anyway,
yeah, I've seen that around.
Yeah.
And finally, where can our listeners connect with you?
All right, man. Best spot would probably be on Instagram. That's at Danny_Lehr. So at DANNY_LEHR. And that'd be that, man. Find me there. And then obviously check out Caffeine and Kilos. And we'll be all good to go.
Awesome, brother. I have one last question from
the
viewers here. They wanted to know, what were the other 2 books?
Oh, so what I say? Oh, Seth Godin, Purple Cow. Okay. So it's called Purple Cow by Seth Godin. And then Culture Code. I don't remember the guy, Daniel something. But anyway, Culture Code is really good. It's how like groups work together and everything. So
Purple Cow by Seth Godin and Culture Code
by Daniel Coyle, might be.
Okay.
something like that. But
I'll
it's
have to look
definitely
it up.
culture code. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, brother. Well, Danny, I appreciate you for coming on into our group here and sharing your knowledge and helping us along the way with our fitness business. And
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
I got one final question for you.
All right. Yeah.
What can I do to help you?
Oh, I don't know, man. You know what? Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep helping people out and having people on and asking questions and getting the information out there. Honestly, that's it, man. I don't know. Right now, I don't know.
Awesome, brother.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, guys. Keep changing lives.